Part 23. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 221. Everything that happened to the Flame Dragon Emperor today was within Zhang Yunting's expectations. Although Zhang Zizai hadn't asked him yet, he was basically certain that Zhang Yunting knew that the Flame Dragon Emperor would use the Divine Annihilation technique. He even knew that the Flame Dragon Emperor would not succeed. Therefore, he was relieved to let him take Zhang Zizai to the Flame Dragon Divine Pillar, and the final result was just as Zhang Yunting expected. He expected that the Flame Dragon Emperor would never let Zhang Zizai go on the day of the god sacrifice, so he just had to wait here. Zhang Zizai's disruption of the two brothers was not in his plan. However, it did trigger the inner evil of the Flame Dragon Emperor in advance. Zhang Yunting was also waiting for Zhang Zhenjian to be released from prison, so that he would be sure and have the initiative. Otherwise, who knows if he would suddenly lose control and order Zhang Zhenjian to be killed. Today, Zhang Zhenjian is safe, and the return of the moon-hidden divine servant with sufficient authority is the best opportunity for Zhang Yunting. Maybe the matter between Dong Yangjing and the prince was not in the plan of Emperor Yanlong, but since the prince came to interfere, Emperor Yanlong would certainly not refuse. He originally thought that Zhang Zhenjian would definitely come to make trouble. At that time, maybe he would not have to wait until the dead of night, and he could directly find an excuse to deprive Zhang Zizai of his totem. At that time, everything developed as he thought, but unfortunately, he did not expect that Zhang Zizai's totem would not be successful with his divine annihilation technique. Not only did he fail, but he also cracked the Yanlong God Pillar. I believe that the people will definitely make a fuss about the changes in the Yanlong God Pillar. Mortals believe in this omen the most. Perhaps, it symbolizes the end of the dynasty. Now Emperor Yanlong has been defeated miserably, and even Lu Yuan, who was supposed to be dead, has come back to life. The game between him and Zhang Yunting ended with his complete defeat. At this sensational moment, the ministers looked at Emperor Yanlong speechlessly. One wrong step, every step is wrong. At this time, no one dared to stand up and say anything. Even if the people were furious, for the time being, they could not change the fact that he was now the emperor. The moon-hidden divine servant said, "Emperor Yanlong, for your own selfishness, you have committed heinous crimes. If you have the face to face the people of the world in the future, you should continue to be the emperor. I, the sacrifice temple, do not have the right to punish you. But, thinking of the 100,000 wronged souls, can you sleep and eat peacefully?" He was forcing Emperor Yanlong to abdicate directly in his words. However, whether to abdicate or not must be his own decision. The ministers all lowered their heads at this time, not daring to say much, but it can be seen that many people have already lost their hearts to such a sinister emperor. There are many people who once revered Emperor Yanlong, so I am afraid they only despise him in their hearts. The hot eyes of the crowd now fell on Emperor Yanlong. "Your Majesty, I don't ask you to commit suicide to commemorate the dead souls, abdicate," said the star divine servant. Abdicate. Many people were really discouraged. When someone spoke, there were still people following. Anyway, there were so many people now that their words would not be remembered. Shut up. Unexpectedly, he was still stubborn until this moment. He raised his head and glanced at Zhang Yunting and the two divine servants. "This dynasty is my dynasty. No one can force me to abdicate. Zhang Yunting, you are really amazing. You used your disguise secret technique to put the blame on me. Your two image talismans were made by you during this period. They are really real. But do you think that everyone in the world is a fool? It's so easy to be deceived by you." At this time, he was still quibbling. Just put the disguise secret technique on Zhang Yunting. People in the world are not fools, so now they all know who is right and who is wrong. Do you know why you lost today? You lost because you think you are the smartest person in the world and everyone else is a fool. Until now, Do you still think that people in the world have no ability to distinguish right from wrong and can be manipulated by you? Zhang Yunding asked repeatedly, leaving him speechless. Abdicate. More people were shouting. Come on, help me catch the criminal. His eyes were red. Someone stood beside him, but did not dare to take action. That's Yang Liuqiu said, there are still many things that can be done about this matter. Please don't trust Zhang Yunding easily. He is full of tricks. Don't be deceived. Forget it, this farce should end. Since the Flame Dragon Emperor is unwilling to abdicate, let's go. Yuan Shenqi did not force it. This matter cannot be forced. Anyway, the world has already reached a conclusion, and he can indeed rely on this position, but next, it depends on whether the people are still willing to listen to the Flame Dragon Emperor. Not only the masses, but also the ministers, and some heroes in the rivers and lakes. If you want to redeem your reputation, it will take decades. The events of Desolate Heaven Pass will be recorded in history and become a shame for the royal family for generations. From the trembling of the Flame Dragon Emperor and the helpless trembling of many royal families, Zhang Zizai can see that they are already in a miserable state today. The moon-hidden god servant is not going to tangle with him here. At this time, it is a good opportunity for the sacrifice temple to take over the mountains and rivers. It was the Flame Dragon Emperor who personally gave the people's hearts to the sacrifice temple. Zhang Yunding was born in the sacrifice temple. He had such evidence and came to the sacrifice temple for help. How could the sacrifice temple miss this good opportunity? Speaking of which, the sacrifice temple has cultivated Zhang Yunding's family. Zhang Zizai has not experienced such a happy time for a long time. The family is finally reunited. Lingxian, you don't have to go back to the palace. Zhang Zizai remembered her and said to her hurriedly. Before he finished speaking, he saw Ruohua holding her hand, as if she was treating her as his daughter-in-law. The reason why Zhang Zizai said this was because Lingxian had just taken action against the Flame Dragon Emperor. She was just a pawn. If Zhang Zizai and his family did not protect her, she would have no way to survive. Princess Lingxian was a little confused. Zhang Zizai glanced at Princess Shenxiao. She was still sitting there with her head down, not knowing what she was thinking. Maybe she was in pain. The person she admired was an unforgivable villain. But if it went as expected, the future of the Flame Dragon dynasty would be hers. Everything was over. Zhang Yunding greeted his children with a smile on his face. But at this moment, two people suddenly flew over from a distance and landed in front of them. Two extremely scary people. One of them smiled and asked, "The Imperial City can still be so lively. What game are you playing? Who are they?" Maybe most people don't know. Only the god servant and Zhang Yunding looked gloomy after seeing the clothes and attire of these two people, and they were obviously in awe. Zhang Zizai was also confused. Who on earth was this person? Could he make the two strongest people in the world feel a little afraid? Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 222. Looking closely at the two men, one of them is an old man, about the same age as Yuan Shenqi, wearing a light red robe, with a ruddy face, white hair, and a youthful face, and a fierce look between his eyebrows. He is an old man who is not easy to deal with. What makes Zhang Zizai feel especially strong is that if his guess is right, this old man also has a dragon totem. He guessed, could it be the father of the Flame Dragon Emperor? The other one is a boy about 12 years old. The boy has an extremely outstanding temperament. His face is noble and his manners are noble. It is obvious that he has a top-notch background. He looks higher than the princes and princesses. Although he is not very old, his eyes have a kind of demeanor that looks down on all living beings. Although he is not very old, he looks very mature, and his eyes seem to be able to penetrate the heart. He is wearing a moon-white robe with a totem pattern embroidered on his chest. It is a dragon, domineering and arrogant. The old man was standing beside the boy, which meant that the boy's status was obviously higher. Ancient Venerable, after seeing these two people, the Flame Dragon Emperor was shocked. People never expected that he, the supreme ruler, would kneel down and salute at this time, saying, "Ancient Venerable is coming, why didn't you notify me in advance? Who is this person next to you?" He changed the I, he called himself to I. Where did these two people come from that made him so odd? The old man named Ancient Venerable said, "This is the holy son of my Flame Dragon Holy Clan, why don't you lead all living beings to kneel down and worship?" The Flame Dragon Emperor was even more exaggerated, and hurriedly called out to the ministers, saying, "Follow me, worship the holy son." Everyone didn't know who he was, only a few people with a wider range of knowledge knew the identity of the person who came. Under the exaggeration of the Flame Dragon Emperor, they also had awe in their hearts and followed the Flame Dragon Emperor to salute. Except Zhang Zizai. The moon-hidden divine servant said, "We are in the temple of sacrifice, so we don't need to salute the people of the Tianlong Holy Dynasty." So, only the people in the temple of sacrifice stopped. The others were frightened by the awe of the Flame Dragon Emperor. Obviously, the guy called Guzuns must be very strong. But where did they come from? The two of them could easily see that some people did not kneel down. Guzuns smiled coldly and said, "The running dogs of the divine sect are really everywhere. Even in this far east." The moon-hidden divine servant said, "We have come to this desolate land to help the people here resist the source beasts. The history is 10 times longer than yours." The Guzuns ignored him, but said to the boy beside him, "Son, this person should be Zhang Yunting. You take it," the boy said indifferently. The ancient venerable nodded, and he said to Zhang Yunting, "I heard that a divine box descended in the Far East. You took it, right? Hand it over and you can save your life." The Flame Dragon Emperor knew that they came here thousands of miles away for no reason, and it must be because of the divine box. He hurriedly said, "Ancient Venerable, this person took the divine box." "Shut up, if you don't report this kind of thing, it means you have the intention of embezzling it. Next, I will deal with you." The ancient venerable glanced at him coldly. The Flame Dragon Emperor gritted his teeth. In order to retaliate against Zhang Yunting, he originally wanted to say that the divine box had become Zhang Zizai's totem, but now he didn't want to say it. If he didn't say it, maybe he would have a chance in the future. He didn't believe that the divine annihilation technique would fail every time. "Zhang Yunting, take it out." The ancient venerable had already approached him. From his meaning, it was obvious that if Zhang Yunting didn't take it out, he would take action. "This is someone from my divine sect, Venerable Gu. Are you trying to steal something from someone from my divine sect?" The moon-hidden divine servant and the star divine servant stood up and stood with Zhang Yunting. "Back off," Zhang Yunting said to his children. Two people who came from nowhere for no apparent reason actually caused a tense atmosphere again. "Don't lie to me, two divine servant. This is the Imperial Purple Scale King, who has long since left your divine section today. If you two want to stop me, don't blame me for being rude," the Venerable Gu said. "Stop talking nonsense. Kill the man and take the things away." "I'm in a hurry." Not far behind him, the Holy Son said impatiently. It's rare for a 12-year-old boy to say such words. Under his order, the Venerable Gu really took action, and for a moment, the two divine servant intercepted him. "Go quickly." They turned back to remind Zhang Yunting that as long as Zhang Yunting left, even the Venerable Gu would be helpless. Zhang Yunting also knew that he had to lead the battlefield out, so he left without saying a word. A bolt of lightning shot out instantly. Before they could be reunited, he was forced to leave. "Want to leave?" The ancient venerable turned into a dragon shadow and chased after him instantly. The two divine servants followed behind him, trying to intercept him for Zhang Yunting. The three disappeared instantly, and only the Holy Son was still standing there. He glanced at everyone with deep contempt in his eyes, as if he didn't regard the people in this place as human beings. Holy Sun, you must be tired after coming here from 1,000 miles away. The Flame Dragon Emperor hurriedly smiled and stepped forward. If you talk to me again, you will die today. The Holy Sun glanced at him with disgust on his face. The dignified Flame Dragon Emperor, being scolded by such a boy, didn't dare to refute him, lowered his head and retreated, not daring to say a word, just like the attitude of eunuch Qian in front of him. Zhang Zizai was really amazed by all this. Who could suppress the Flame Dragon Emperor like this? He heard some crying sounds. It turned out that his mother was crying. This bad guy, how could his fate be so rough? He just came back and was forced to leave again. What kind of people and what happened? She sobbed. Don't worry, mother, with the help of the two gods, he will be fine. Zhang Zizai hurriedly comforted her. The god box is actually on Zhang Zizai, but Zhang Yunting will definitely not tell it. Maybe Zhang Yunting knows their identities. Outside the imperial city, the sound of fighting was faintly heard, getting farther and farther. It means that Zhang Yunting was escaping and the two gods were intercepting him. Now that things have changed again, Zhang Zizai can only pray that he will be safe. He glanced at the Holy Sun. Who is his identity? How can he speak so coquettishly? Aren't they all one nose and two eyes? What's so cool about it? He doesn't know the height of the world. Seeing that Flame Dragon Emperor was like a grandson, everyone knew how amazing the Saint Son was. Don't underestimate this guy, he's only 11 or 12 years old, at least the 5th level of the Saint Body realm, and his totem is similar to your father's. Juxian came to Zhang Zizai's side at some point and whispered in his ear. What? Damn, Zhang Zizai was stunned, a little bit unable to believe his ears. He is a peerless genius, unprecedented in history. What's wrong with this little brat? Did he grow up eating spirit stones? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 223. Tianlong Holy Dynasty and Shenzong, these two unfamiliar terms made Zhang Zizai a little confused. To the east of the Yanlong dynasty is an endless sea, to the north is an uninhabited glacier, and to the south is a barbaric area where origin beasts are rampant. To the northwest is Xiaming Kingdom, which has been against the dynasty for generations. The territory of Xiaming Kingdom is said to be comparable to that of the imperial dynasty, but compared with the thousands of miles of fertile land of the dynasty, the territory of Xiaming Kingdom is barren, with desert occupying at least half of it, and the living conditions are harsh. I heard from people who have been to Xiaming Kingdom that there are some small countries in the northwest of Xiaming Kingdom, which are not as big as Xiaming Kingdom, and they are often rebuilt and destroyed. Some people are walking to the west. It is said that there is an endless desert. Many strong people cannot walk through such a desert. There are still storms sweeping through the desert. The Yanlong dynasty has a beautiful environment and a suitable climate, and no one wants to explore the unknown world. But Zhang Yunting has long told his children that the world is much bigger than you think, and the dynasty is just a drop in the ocean. At that time, Zhang Zizai thought he was seeing a joke, but now it seems that maybe the Holy Sun and the Ancient Venerable are figures from the far west. Perhaps, there is fertile soil like the Yanlong dynasty over there, which nourishes strong men. For example, this ancient sage is actually stronger than Yanlong Emperor and Zhang Yunting. He might be the most powerful person in the world. But why does this Holy Sun have such a high status? Is it because his talent is even more exaggerated than Zhang Zizai's? There were many questions in his mind. At this time, he was only worried about Zhang Yunting's life or death. It's like one wave after another. The sounds of the battlefield in the distance were already very quiet. Because of the presence of the Holy Sun, the entire Flame Dragon altar was silent. The Holy Sun glanced at everyone with cold eyes, A mocking smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, and he shook his head and said, "In a barbarian land, there are really no characters." The Yanlong dynasty claimed to be a supreme kingdom, and the civilized world turned out to be a barbarian land in his words. Arrogant Zhang Zizai said contemptuously. He didn't. In his eyes, this is indeed a barbarian land. Unexpectedly, 9 Immortals said it seriously. You don't want to embolden other people's ambitions and destroy your own prestige, Zhang Zizai said. Fool, you are still too young and don't know how high the sky is and how high it is. Hey, do you know a lot? Zhang Zizai had known for a long time that her origins were mysterious. Could it be that she also came from such a far-away place? As soon as he finished speaking, Zhang Zizai saw the ancient venerable coming back menacingly, his face ashen. Behind him were the 2 divine attendants who followed him closely. Zhang Yunding had disappeared. Holy Son, forgive me, Zhang Yunding is really good at running, and these 2 people intercepted him, but I couldn't catch him. The ancient venerable was furious and glanced at the Yuan divine attendant and Xinjiao divine attendant. The Holy Son's expression was indifferent. He glanced at the Yanlong Emperor and said, "Who are Zhang Yunding's relatives? Capture them all and escort them back. Let Zhang Yunding deliver the divine box to the Yanlong Saint clan." Unexpectedly, after chasing Zhang Yunding, he would be so domineering. Emperor Yanlong understood. With a smile on his face, he first pointed at Princess Ruohua and said, "This is his wife. These are his son and daughter." He pointed at Zhang Junjian and Zhang Yanning. When he saw Zhang Zizai, he hesitated slightly and did not identify Zhang Zizai. Obviously, he didn't want these 2 people to know that the divine box was already in Zhang Zizai's possession. "Just these 3, catch them and take them back," the Holy Son ordered the ancient venerable. The ancient venerable nodded quickly, and then glanced at Princess Ruohua. Without saying a word, he stretched out his hand and grabbed her here. Unexpectedly, at this time, both Yuan divine attendant and Xinjiao divine attendant were standing in front of him. The ancient venerable was furious and said, "You 2, it will do no good to offend our Holy Son. Believe it or not, I will shovel your sacrificial temple." Yuan divine attendant smiled and said, "The ancient venerable can try it. Shenzong has 273 sacrificial temples, and not one of them can be missing. What does my capturing these people have to do with you offering sacrifices to the temple?" asked the ancient venerable. Yuan god attendant said, "We also want the god box. This is the order from above. These people are now under our control. How can you snatch them away if you want?" The ancient venerable sneered and said, "So you guys want to get a share of the pie? In that case, it's easy to handle. Just rely on your ability to speak." With that said, he was about to take action. Even the Yanlong Emperor and others are no match for this ancient venerable. Obviously, the 2 divine attendants will definitely not be able to stop him. Ruohua and Zhang Junjian should be considered very dangerous at this time. Zhang Zizai was naturally disgusted by the fact that these 2 men acted so domineeringly. However, the Holy Son was young and could only be regarded as a genius. The key was that the ancient venerable was indeed powerful, and he was afraid that the 2 divine attendants would be defeated. Sure enough, the ancient venerable didn't want to talk nonsense, he just said it out loud. Last time he captured Zhang Yunding, this time he directly attacked the 2 divine attendants. Buzz. As soon as they started, the world shook. They fought directly at the flame dragon altar. The onlookers immediately retreated. Otherwise, if they were affected, even Zhang Zizai himself might die instantly. "Mom, what should I do?" Zhang Zizai asked quickly. He could see that the ancient sage with the dragon totem was indeed quite domineering. His moves were wide open and closed, and the 2 divine attendants could only restrain him but could not stop him at all. The Yanlong Emperor is not willing to expose Zhang Zizai yet. He is not in danger, but his mother and brothers and sisters are in danger. Xuanhuan glanced at the chaotic battlefield. The battle between the three people was so chaotic that the entire flame dragon altar was almost destroyed, with ruins everywhere. They can hold on. That person will be back soon. Just when Zhang Zizai wanted to ask who that person was, a golden figure suddenly appeared and joined the battlefield. The golden figure was shining all over, just like the scorching sun, bursting out with thousands of feet of light. The moon-hidden divine servant was like a black moon, appearing and disappearing from time to time, while the star divine servant was like a sky full of stars, bright and shining. The sun, moon, and stars gathered again. If Zhang Zizai guessed correctly, it should be the Holy Sun divine servant who appeared. From what they said, it turned out that the Holy Sun divine servant and the moon-hidden divine servant had not been there all the time. It was not until this time that the Holy Sun divine servant came back. For some reason, the three of them joined forces, and their power seemed to be very huge. For a while, they actually suppressed the ancient venerable. This shocked Zhang Zizai. No wonder the sacrifice temple has such a big say. It turns out that the combined strength of the three of them is stronger than that of the Flame Dragon King and my father. No wonder the Flame Dragon King is so afraid of the sacrifice temple. Especially the Holy Sun servant, his fighting style is very explosive. His whole body is shrouded in the light of the scorching sun, and it is completely unclear what he looks like. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 224. Boom boom boom. The fierce battle ended with the Holy Sun saying enough. The two sides dispersed. The ancient venerable's hair was a little disheveled, and he stared fiercely at the three divine attendants. Zhang Zizai finally got a clear look at the Holy Sun divine attendant. Unexpectedly, the first divine attendant looked younger than the Xinyao divine attendant, and was probably not much different from Zhang Yunting. This is a man wearing a light white robe with a pair of golden eyes. His figure is straight and slender. He has a sense of immortality. He is solemn and serious. There is a sacred atmosphere in his every move. Such a temperament has arrived. In the mountains and fields, mortals may directly think that the ancient gods have arrived. It turns out it's you, Ling Qingtian, who is still serving as the servant of the Holy Sun here. Aren't you tired from being so far away and running between the two places every day? The ancient venerable said coldly. It is the honor of our generation to spread the grace of the ancient gods to all people. How can we feel tired? The Holy Sun God's servant responded coldly. Seeing this situation, the Holy Sun took a step forward and said, no matter who you are, I tell you, that box is mine. If you fight for it with me, you must be prepared to die. The Holy Sun has a bright future, but now he is only in the holy body realm and cannot threaten me. Let your elders speak. Holy Sun divine attendant said. When he appeared, the two divine attendants seemed to have a backbone. How dare you be so rude to me? The Holy Sun was slightly angry. The Holy Sun divine attendant smiled slightly and said, the Holy Sun may not know that we only worship the ancient gods. Even if your ancestors are here, I will not be rude. He turned back and pointed at Princess Ruohua and the others, and said, there is no need to covet the Holy Sun anymore. I have sent the divine box to Shenzhen. As a deal, I need to protect Zhang Yunting's relatives. The Holy Sun has arrived too late. The ancient venerable sneered, impossible. If it wasn't for the evil in his heart, how could Zhang Yunting just escape? The divine box must still be in his hands. You can think so. So, just think that our origin divine sect has hijacked his family and wait for him to send the divine box back. Anyway, you have no share. Holy Sun divine attendant continued to say in a leisurely manner. Very good. The Holy Sun also smiled coldly. In my country of Tianlong, there is only a sacrificial temple. If you dare to steal my things, just wait and see. Did the god box go to Shenzhen? They must have considerations in their hearts. Then let's see who can catch Zhang Yunting first. The ancient venerable smiled, and he seemed to be very confident in himself. Holy Son, I left an introduction on Zhang. He can't escape from the palm of my hand even if he escapes to the ends of the earth. The ancient venerable lowered his head and spoke softly to the Holy Son. Not bad. The Holy Son finally praised him. In that case, let's go directly and don't waste time here. You first send me back to the Saint clan, and then help me capture him with all your strength, and also set up spies. If he come back here, and I want to know as soon as possible. What if the divine box is already in Shenzhen? Asked the ancient venerable. The Holy Son said, if this is really the case, then there is no need to work in vain. However, with such a magical thing, do you believe that people will not have selfish motives? The person who worships the temple is so protective of his relatives because he just wants to get the God box. They have hostages, we have introducers, it depends on who is faster. The ancient venerable nodded and said, I will immediately arrange to go down and search for this person according to the introduction, and at the same time escort the Holy Son back to the Holy Clan. The two of them leaned together and whispered, and no one outside knew what they were talking about, but after they finished talking, they seemed too lazy to talk to everyone, and actually stood up to leave. Holy Son, ancient venerable, suddenly, Yanlong Emperor called out to them. By the way, I forgot to deal with you. The ancient venerable looked at him coldly. Emperor Yanlong lowered his head and said, Venerable ancient, what happened with the divine box is my fault. If Zhang Yunding appears in the future, I will inform you as soon as possible. The entire dynasty is my spy. This is your opportunity to make meritorious service, so cherish it. The ancient venerable scolded. No problem. Venerable ancient, in addition, do you still remember the issues we communicated with last time? Yanlong Emperor asked expectantly. You are talking about your daughter Longzhao, right? Said the ancient venerable. Yes, Fuer, come here quickly. Emperor Yanlong shouted quickly, and Princess Shenxiao, who had been standing in the corner, became the focus of people again. She was a little confused and walked towards Yan Dragon Emperor. When he saw Princess Shenxiao for the first time, the ancient venerable said, I didn't expect that a wild land like yours could produce such a beauty. It's not bad. The Yanlong Emperor quickly flattered her and said, Venerable ancient, my daughter is only 16 years old and possesses the wild level totem, the divine sky flame dragon totem. She has already reached the 8th level of the mysterious vein realm. The ancient venerable looked at it for a few times and said, it has improved a lot compared to the last time you said it. Your daughter can be considered a good descendant of the Yanlong Saint clan. The future of the wild level totem is still possible. If you have the opportunity to evolve to Hong level will be even more amazing. Venerable, you will probably like it. He thought for a moment and said, okay, I will take her to the Yanlong Saint clan. However, her fate depends on your performance. Emperor Yanlong immediately expressed his gratitude and said, Venerable ancient, I will leave it to you for my daughter. She has been hard-working since she was a child, and she will definitely not disappoint Venerable ancient in the future. During the whole process, Princess Shenxiao was at a loss. Father, where am I going? She asked blankly. A place where you can soar into the sky, a place where you don't have to stay here as a frog in a well, a place where Zhang Zizai can truly be thrown thousands of miles away, Yanlong Emperor said excitedly. So, in that place, no one will know that my father is a devil who killed 100,000 people, right? She asked stupidly. Zhen'er, Yanlong Emperor covered his chest and stepped back a few steps, his face pale. He saw Shengxiao's disgusted eyes. His own daughter, he was so begging for mercy from others for her, but she actually said such sad words. I'm going there, I don't want to come back. Shenxiao looked at him with a smile. She has made up her mind. Staying here, being criticized by thousands of people, why bother? I'm waiting for you to come back and make Yanlong more prosperous. He struggled. No, if I have a better future by chance, I definitely don't want to come back, she said so decisively. This made Yanlong Emperor very painful. He ignored his son's death for this daughter, but in the end, why was she so heartless? She is the person who is most like him. Father, I hate you. She said the last sentence, and then slowly stood beside Guzuns. It's quite interesting, Guzuns smiled. Even the saint looked at her a few more times and said, in a place like this, it is really good to be able to cultivate to the 8th level of the mysterious vein realm and possess a wild level totem. It's a pity that you are a little old. Young people are willful. 16 years old is the age of budding, but in his eyes, they are old. Zhang Zizai was convinced. He didn't expect that Shen Xiao suddenly saw Princess Lingxian next to him, and then said to the saint, Saint son, ancient venerable, I have a request, I don't know if you can agree. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 225. They were happy, and the ancient venerable showed great mercy and took her away, but she still made a request. Seeing that her conversation with Yanlong Emperor was quite interesting, the ancient venerable also had some interest in the little girl, so he asked, then tell me your request. Shen Xiao pointed at Princess Lingxian and said, she is my sister. After I leave, she will be alone here. She is simple and kind, and those people will harm her. I wonder if I can take her away. Just give her a place to live in the future, she doesn't need anything. She also has a dragon totem, called the Red Blood Spirit Dragon Totem, which is 1 year younger than me and is at the 5th level of the mysterious vein realm. Blood Dragon Totem. That's really rare. The owners of the Blood Dragon Totem are all murderous and violent people, and it's actually in the body of a little girl. After hearing about the Red Blood Spirit Dragon Totem, the ancient venerable was still a little curious. He looked at Princess Lingxian. The Holy Sun glanced at it and said, take it away. Maybe they are interested in the Blood Dragon Totem. Princess Shenxiao was very happy, and she quickly said to Lingxian, let's go, let's leave here, go to a distant place, and start over, okay. If you stay here, he won't let you go. The person she was talking about was Yanlong Huang. Lingxian had just attacked him. Princess Lingxian was trembling a little, and she shrank behind Zhang Zizai. Don't be stupid. He doesn't like you. Do you want to stay with him? Has he married you today? In what capacity do you want to stay with him? From now on, he will let the birds fly as he pleases. You will not care. You. Who do you think you are? Shen Xiao was very anxious and asked several questions in succession. I have to wait for them to come back, I can't leave. Lingxian said tremblingly, holding her hands. She knew that she couldn't go back to the imperial city, and she could only stay with Zhang Zizai, but Shen Xiao was right. He knew that Zhang Zizai didn't like her, so what was the point of her staying here? They are already dead, don't you understand? Shen Xiao said anxiously. She didn't know how much patience these two people had. If they said a few more words, they would become impatient. Princess Ruohua shook her head and gently held Princess Lingxuan's hand. Zhang Zizai knew in her heart that going to Shen Xiao was equivalent to going to a place that could give her a higher destiny. The good thing was that she might really be able to surpass her father in the future. The bad thing was that in that strange place, she had to go through everything. If she has to rely on herself, who else can be her backer? The future and destiny are beyond our control. But now she doesn't want to stay here at all. She is willing to accept such a challenge. As for Princess Lingxian, she could also go with her. She might have a better future than staying in the Yanlong dynasty, because in Yanlong, she had no hope. Ruohua definitely wants to keep her daughter-in-law. Zhang Zizai thought for a while, then turned back and said, Lingxian, you decide your own future. If you want to stay, Zhangwang City will be your home from now on. If you don't want to, that's okay. I'll go to a distant place to find you. The meaning of living is just like what I told you last time, to find the end of martial arts. Then, he said to Princess Ruohua, Mom, don't influence her. She has the right to decide where to go. Ruohua could only purse her lips and let go of Lingxuan's hand. She really couldn't bear to let such a lovely daughter-in-law go on a difficult road from now on. Such a lovely girl should grow flowers and plants with her and have children. A few grandchildren and so on. But Zhang Zizai is right, everyone has the right to decide their own life. I know. She suddenly tried her best to smile. Maybe it was Princess Shengxiao's question that made her realize what she was doing by following Zhang Zizai. He has never liked himself. The imperial city cannot go back. The only sister, when she left, she thought of herself. Maybe it was what Zhang Zizai said about the meaning of life and the end of martial arts that tempted her. The end of martial arts can only wait until they come back. The Holy Sun and the Ancient Venerable are so powerful, it would be better if they pursue martial arts there. Yan'er, come with me. I have no relatives and I dare not leave alone. Suddenly, Shen Xiao shed tears. It turned out that she was also afraid. She was more determined than anyone else. She didn't want to stay here anymore. A person she respected had turned into someone she hated. Her world had been destroyed. If she stayed here, she would only be tortured by pain. Sister, I'm leaving with you. She walked out tremblingly, looked back at Zhang Zizai and Princess Ruohua, and then walked towards Shen Xiao firmly and persistently, making her own decision. Princess Ruohua sighed, stretched out her fingers and pinched Zhang Zizai's arm. Mother's good daughter-in-law, it's annoying to have you send her away. She was really reluctant to let her go. Her motherly nature exploded every day, and she loved Princess Lingxian so much. Of course, she was also a sensible person, so she just complained. She would not stop Lingxian from finding her future. Leave, the Holy Sun said impatiently. As soon as he finished speaking, a huge flame bird flew out of the imperial city. Its wings were spread out and it was almost 5 feet wide. It was not a problem for more than a dozen people to sit on it. The most important thing is that this flame bird has no feathers. It is covered in scales, like dragon scales, and its head also has dragon horns. If you don't look carefully, you might think it is a dragon head. 6th grade origin beast, dragon-scaled bird. I vaguely heard someone exclaiming. Then, the Holy Sun got on the bird's back first, and the ancient reverend took the 2 princesses and jumped on the dragon-scale bird. The Holy Sun did not look back, and the remaining 3 looked back at the flame dragon altar when the flame bird took off. The ancient reverend looked at the 3 divine servants coldly, meaning that the fight was not over yet. As for Shen Xiao, she was saying goodbye to this place and people that she hated. She saw Zhang Zizai, and maybe what she was thinking in her heart was that she could finally never see him again. From now on, she must make him look up to her. But she saw that Zhang Zizai was reluctant to say goodbye to the person next to her. Looking back, Lingxian was also looking at the boy blankly. Do you like him? Shen Xiao asked. She knew that Lingxian would not have someone she liked, so she asked casually. She never expected that Princess Lingxian nodded. You are really crazy, then why do you still want to go with me? Shen Xiao glared at her. It's okay if I like him. We don't need to be together or for him to like me, Lingxian said softly, as if this was normal. She is like this, never forcing others to do anything. She just needs to make sure that she is the way she is. Yan'er, thank you, she hugged her gently. Why are you thanking me? Thank you for accompanying me when I was in the most painful and desperate time of my life, to walk a road full of dangers with an unknown future. You are so good to me, she hugged her tightly, tears falling on her long hair. I'm sorry, I know how important the swing is to you, I regret it. If I still have a chance, I will never do that. Sister, I have fixed it, but unfortunately I didn't take it away. Lingxian patted her back gently. Fixed it? You must be very sad that you didn't take it away. Shen Xiao asked. No, I don't have to wait for them anymore, I'm going to find them, Ling Xian said hopefully. Are you going to commit suicide again? No, you don't understand, I won't tell you. There is still a secret for you. Both of them burst into laughter. Yan'er, I swear that I will treat you well for the rest of my life. If one day, I become bad, I will ask the ancient god to strike me with lightning. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 226. To be honest, Zhang Zizai was a little disappointed when these two little beauties left. Especially Shen Xiao, after all, she was a beauty that he had met and had seen frankly. I wonder if her size will change when they meet next time. However, she has been free from now on, and I am afraid there will be no chance to meet again. I am a little worried that these two weak women will be bullied in a place where they are unfamiliar with the world and no one will take care of them. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. Shen Xiao is really brave. Seeing the look of the Saint Sun looking down on the world, Zhang Zizai may not dare to go to such a place. He knew that the most important thing was that she could not bear the crime of the Flame Dragon Emperor. If Zhang Zizai was sure that his father was the one who did the thing at the Desolate Heaven Pass, he could not forgive him. This Flame Dragon Emperor is really bold. He knew that the divine box was on him, but he still didn't tell the two people. Who doesn't know what his purpose is? Now Shen Xiao is gone, Guzun and the Holy Sun are also gone. Let's see how he will clean up this huge mess. He was indifferent when he was forced to abdicate before, and he obviously wanted to bite Zhang Yunting back. Now that Shen Xiao is gone, it is even more impossible to ask him to abdicate. Zhang Zizai didn't know where his father, who had just left, went. At this time, he heard the three divine servants say a few words to Ruohua and Zhang Junjian. Zhang Junjian stood up at this time, facing the Flame Dragon Emperor, and said loudly, Flame Dragon Emperor, the 100,000 people in Desolate Heaven Pass are all the people of my great Zhang County. As a minister, we really can't tolerate the Emperor being such a villain, so we decided that the great Zhang County will no longer be under the jurisdiction of the dynasty until you give an explanation for the matter of Desolate Heaven Pass. These words scared Zhang Zizai. His brother's decision was really bold. Emperor Yanlong's face turned pale, and he said angrily, You, the Kirin royal family, are going to commit treason. Your wolfish ambition has finally been exposed. Daejiang County has been the territory of our dynasty for generations. If you commit treason, I will lead the cavalry to flatten Daejiang royal city and destroy your Kirin royal family. How can the dynasty be divided by a young boy like Zhang Junjian? Zhang Junjian was not afraid and said, Your Majesty, you are too serious. My Kirin royal family will never commit treason. We just can't be loyal to a monarch who killed 100,000 people. Otherwise, we can't explain to the people of Daejiang County. If the dynasty changes the emperor, Daejiang County will naturally be under its jurisdiction again. As for Emperor Yanlong, if you want to send troops, you can try it and see if the soldiers and the people are willing to fight for you, a peerless tyrant, and suffer again. Do you think that people in the world can still listen to your orders? People's hearts are made of flesh and blood. Now the image symbol of the sacrifice temple has spread all over the country, and the world is in an uproar. He has become a devil, and no one needs to worry. The Flame Dragon Emperor can still command the army. Long Yin, the most urgent thing is to think about how to repent and give an explanation to the people of the world. Resigning is the minimum, the Holy Sun God servant said. The Flame Dragon Emperor gritted his teeth. How could he be willing to give up this position? Very good, ha ha, he laughed. That Xiang Liuqiu said, the matter of the desolate heaven pass is still uncertain. It is not certain who will know the secret art of disguise. How can the God servant believe Xuanhuan? You don't need to question me. Go out and ask the people of the world now and see what they say. What I say is not important anymore, the Holy Sun God servant said. His words are simple, but that's the truth. Let's go, it's meaningless to stay here and argue. The team of the sacrifice temple and the people of the great Zhongqing city left the flame dragon altar first. Following them, there were many powerful people from all over the country, some of whom were even direct subordinates of Emperor Yanlong. They were all disheartened. As for the Prime Minister and others, they must still stand on the side of Emperor Yanlong, but they can no longer fill this huge hole. Too many things happened today, and Zhang Zizai still hasn't reacted. When they came outside the imperial city, they found that many people had gathered outside. The people of Yanlongxia gathered outside the imperial city. There were as many as 1 million people, and they came here in anger, and even the imperial guards could hardly stop them. Emperor Yanlong, 100,000 people are not as valuable as a treasure in your eyes. Are you a human or a devil? Rivers of blood flowed in Huangtian Pass, and corpses were everywhere. So many people were so miserable. Wouldn't you be unable to sleep and eat well? The key is that he also used this to frame King Zilan. He deceived us for so long. You have ruined a country like this. How can you, a despicable villain who is unforgivable, live up to our ancestors? My 2 younger brothers are making a living there. More than a dozen people in 2 families were eaten to pieces by the source beasts. My old mother vomited blood and died on the spot when she heard the news. Emperor Yanlong, I want you to pay for your blood debt with blood. Heaven! Ancestors! Why don't you show up and punish this crazy person? The anger of millions of people, disdaining the endless anger, is like a sea of fire, burning Yanlong ruins. Seeing this scene, Zhang Zizai was very clear that even if the Flame Dragon Emperor still occupied this position, his reputation had been completely ruined, and it would be difficult for anyone to obey his orders in the future. The entire dynasty might be in turmoil for a period of time until he was no longer the emperor. At this time, the shrine of sacrifice will have to stand up to appease the people. Therefore, the responsibility of the shrine of sacrifice is also very important at this time. If it is not done well, such a turbulent society will definitely lead to many tragedies. For example, at this time, the people and the imperial guards, there are also conflicts between them. The key is that many of the imperial guards don't want to stop people. They are even more angry than the people. The Longshan hunting incident had gone too far before, and now the anger would only become more explosive. Upon seeing this, the attendant of the Holy Sun God said to the attendant of the Xinjiao God, "You take them back to the sacrifice temple first, and I will appease the people." He stayed here and tried his best to calm down this chaotic city. Zhang Zizai and the others returned to the safe place of the temple of sacrifice first. What Zhang Zizai is most concerned about now is whether his father is safe now and where has he gone. Regarding the God Box and the Flame Dragon Saint clan, how should we deal with these chaotic matters? He thought his mother wouldn't be so confused, maybe she already knew what was going on. Don't worry about it yet. I will make it clear to you when the Holy Sun God comes back. Princess Ruohua looked at her children with a gentle smile on her face. Her eyes fell on Zhang Junjian and Dong Yangjing, who were always holding hands. Xiaojing, I will communicate with your father. When we return to Dajiang City, I will let you marry Junjian in an upright and honorable manner. Dong Yangjing nodded. In fact, she felt that it didn't matter what her parents' opinions were. As for you, Junjian, your father may not come back soon. I want to let you succeed the Zilan king directly after returning. From now on, you will be responsible for governing the Dajiang County. Mother is tired and doesn't want to work anymore. So fast, Zhang Junjian pursed his lips and said, "It depends on what you and Dad want, I don't have any problem." Mother shouldn't have to do those complicated things. Zizi, do you have any questions? Princess Ruohua asked with a smile. I have a hair problem. Even if you choose 100,000 harem beauties for me to be the Zilan king, I don't want to be. Ruohua was amused by him and said, you still want 100,000 beauties, such a good princess Lingxian, to let you go. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qingyang. Chapter 227. Not long after, the Holy Sun Divine Attendant had returned. Sacrifice to the temple and wait for him to come back to take charge of the overall situation. In the secret room, apart from Zhang Yunting, Zhang Zizai's family were all here. There are also Shen Yuanqing, Juxian, Lu Yuan, Lu Dingxing, and others. How is the situation outside? Yuan Shen asked. The people's hearts have been appeased. Yanlong ruins is stable, and other cities are similar. However, hundreds of millions of people in the dynasty are still chanting for the Yanlong Emperor to abdicate. Chengri Divine Attendant said. After this time, it will be difficult for him to stand up again. If he does not abdicate, he will no longer have any say. We may be a little busier in the future, but within 1,000 years, the status of the Temple of Sacrifice will be secure. Xinyao God wait. Today's revelation of the truth has indeed brought huge benefits to the Temple of Sacrifice. Their local god sacrifice branches will soon receive higher support than the city lord's palace. Everyone present was one of their own. Seeing Ruohua and the others, Holy Sun Divine Attendant said, I just communicated with Zhang Yunting. There are some situations that I need to explain to you. Ruohua and the others are waiting. Since the Holy Sun Divine Attendant can communicate with him, it means that he is not in danger for the time being. He said, now that he is being targeted by the people of the Yanlong Saint clan, there will be some trouble. The Yanlong Emperor's eyes are everywhere in the dynasty. Once he appears, the people of the Yanlong Saint clan will know about it, so he decided, I will not show up openly for the time being, and let Junjian be the new Zilan king in the future. Zhang Zizai said, the Yanlong Emperor knows that my father does not have the divine box in his hands. Those people will know it sooner or later, and their target will shift to me. Holy Sun Divine Attendant shook his head and said, the Flame Dragon Emperor won't say it. He still thinks he has a chance. If he says it, then your father can come back by then. Zhang Zizai said, it's better to come back directly and let them focus on me. This would save his mother the pain of lovesickness and leave his father homeless. Holy Sun God Server said, your father doesn't think so. He said that since those people know about the God box, he is willing to take the risk for you. You are now in a critical growth period. Others don't know about you and God. If you are exposed too early, your spiritual path will be very bumpy. Since those people thought that the magic box was in Zhang Yunting's hands, he continued to plan the trick so that Zhang Zizai could grow up in peace while continuing to tangle with those people outside of him. That's not possible. The people in that place are so powerful, and the ancient venerable is so powerful. How can my father deal with them? Zhang Zizai frowned. Don't underestimate your father. He has long been much stronger than the Flame Dragon Emperor. Moreover, his ability to escape for his life is better than anyone else. The ancient venerable thought he had left a mark on him, and he was easily cleared. In this regard, you and your father are indeed similar, and they both run away faster, the Holy Sun God said with emotion. So awesome, Zhang Zizai was convinced. His father had indeed come and gone without a trace. But it was great to buy my son some time to grow up while being homeless. Zhang Zizai didn't know how to repay this kind of kindness. He looked back at his mother and could only say, Mom, I'm so sorry, but I can't let you be with my father anymore. It's okay, he used to be outside every day. However, he will often look at me secretly, so you don't have to worry about it, Ruohua said sweetly. Tisk, tisk, Zhang Zizai laughed. It seems that before the day of worshipping the gods, his father must have secretly met with her many times. To be honest, he didn't appear on the surface, but Zhang Yunting was secretly elusive. Who knows if he is there now? It's next door. The divine attendant of the sun checked Zhang Zizai's totem and said, actually, we had guessed that Yanlong Emperor would use the divine annihilation technique before. His technique was not very powerful, and he only had success against Qian-level totems. This he really couldn't succeed with the totem brought by the God box. However, in fact, your totem is not too special. It is just equivalent to an ordinary wild-level totem. In fact, most people would not suspect that the Flame Dragon Emperor is too great. Once I get to know you, I'll realize that this totem is actually related to the God box. Sure enough, they had calculated everything today. What exactly is the God box? Zhang Zizai didn't understand at all what was linked to his destiny. The Holy Sun Divine Attendant said, a whirlpool opened in the sky, and the divine box came down for your father to get. After all, it is something that is likely to be linked to the ancient gods. No matter what it is, others will pay close attention to it. After the Holy Sun returns, it won't be publicized. If you publicize it, it will only attract more competitors. That's why your father wants you to grow up safely. You don't see anything special about this magic box now. Maybe there will be unimaginable changes in the future. Uncertain. In other words, as long as the matter of the God box does not involve me, my father will not come back openly. Zhang Zizai was a little troubled. He really didn't want him to be reunited with his wife and children. There is nothing we can do about it. In fact, the divine annihilation technique is just a lost totem depriving technique that has been eliminated long ago. Your current desolate level totem is already a part of your life, and no one can take it away. For our Shen sect, you are very likely to grow into a genius even more powerful than your father in the future, so you can rest assured that if the divine box is still there, we may fight for it, but now it's all over. Since you are your totem, we can only train you well. The Holy Sun Divine Attendant was very direct and explained all this clearly so that Zhang Zizai would not trust them. Zhang Yunting trusted them so much, and Zhang Zizai certainly trusted them too. This time, the sacrifice temple did help their family a lot. The God box, no one else could take it away. However, Zhang Yunting still didn't want people to know that the God box was Zhang Zizai's totem. Because he was involved with the ancient god, he was afraid that someone would strangle him directly. So, what exactly is the Shen Zone? He knew his father's intentions. His mission in the future is to continue to grow. He knew that the Shen Zone was the existence behind the sacrifice temple. The Holy Sun God servant was also from the Shen Zone. He didn't expect that there were other strong people in the world besides his father and the Flame Dragon Emperor. Now he was curious about how much stronger the Flame Dragon Saint clan, the Tianlong Holy Dynasty and the Shen Zone were than the Sacrifice Temple. Will his father's ranking in the world drop from the first and second to outside the top 10? In this world, are there more than 10 people stronger than his father? Is that ancient venerable the strongest person? Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 228. It seems that Zizi doesn't understand the vastness of this origin continent, the Holy Sun Divine Attendant said with a smile. Generally speaking, in order to make young people more confident, we will not tell the priests about the continent of origin. Otherwise, it will actually lead to discouragement, Xin Yao God said. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. She is in charge of talent development. The Holy Sun God server shook his head and said, "That's wrong, young people, you still need to know early on that the sky is high and the sky is high. If you can't even admit your own humbleness, how can you become a truly strong person? No strong person can succeed in one day. The training of the heart is always better than the training of martial arts. What you said makes sense. From now on, I will let them know earlier." Xin Yao Divine Server thought for a while and said. Zhang Zizai looked at the others, and judging from their eyes, Zhang Junjian, Ruohua, and Juxian should all have a certain understanding of the origin continent. Only a group of young people, including Dong Yangjing and Zhang Yanning, had confused expressions. Let me talk to them. Juxian smiled coquettishly and winked at Zhang Ziyize. He didn't care about Ruohua's face and went straight to seduce her son. The land under our feet, this endless world, is called the origin continent. The origin continent is the world, and the Yanlong dynasty, in the easternmost part of the origin continent, is somewhat isolated from the world because there is the melting furnace desert to the west. It is separated from the Tianduan mountain range and is slightly separated from other parts of the origin continent. Only a small number of people have ever left Yanlong. Origin continent. Is this the whole picture of the world? It can be said that Zhang Ziyize's blood is boiling and full of yearning. He thought that the Yanlong dynasty, Xiaoming kingdom, plus a few small countries and some desolate places were the whole world. His character longs for freedom and openness, and freedom. Such an endless world arouses his great interest. The 9 Immortals continued, the territory of the origin continent is much larger than you think. On the fertile land that occupies 3/4 of the continent, there are about 270 dynasties and kingdoms, large and small. The Yanlong dynasty is one of them. In terms of land area and strength, it is probably ranked above the middle reaches. The origin continent is so big, there are many more remote places than Yanlong. More than 270, Zhang Ziyize was really shocked. He originally thought that this continent of origin only had a few countries such as Yanlong and Xiaoming. After meeting the Holy Sun and the others, he thought that there might be several more powerful dynasties in the west. But he never expected that there were more than 270 of them, and the Yanlong dynasty could only rank in the middle among them. Is the origin continent really so vast? There is nothing surprising about this. In fact, although they are all dynasties, and some are not as big as Daejiang County, the real super-ancient kingdom is dozens of times larger than Yanlong, so there is really nothing to say about the number. Juxian said. That's okay. It seems like I'm really a frog in the well. In fact, this was a too big impact for Zhang Ziyize. His worldview completely changed, and the world in his heart became extremely open. This made his own ambition more surging, and his desire for the future became even stronger. It's okay. There will be plenty of opportunities to go out for a walk in the future. Juxian comforted him softly. She knew that such a huge world would definitely have an inner impact on people. Especially someone like Zhang Ziyize, who currently thinks he has incredible talent. I must wander around to see how big this continent of origin is, Zhang Ziyize imagined. It is much more wonderful to explore this endless world than to stay here and be the emperor. Let's travel around the world together, 9 Immortals said sweetly. Ahem, the elders are all here. Ruohua coughed. Ha ha. How embarrassing. The 9 Immortals were asked to speak, and they couldn't finish it for a long time. Xinyao Divine Attendant took over the words and said, you should have heard the name of the Tianlong Holy Dynasty. In the entire origin continent, the only one that can be called the Supreme Holy Dynasty one is the Tianlong Holy Dynasty, which is the super dynasty developed by the Holy Dragon clan. In ancient times, the ancestor clan used the Holy Dragon as a totem to fight against heaven and earth, and against the origin beast, and opened up a new world in the central area of the origin continent. This is the most powerful dynasty in the origin continent, the Shenglong clan, and the strongest totem clan in the origin continent. It is a lineage of the Shenglong clan. There are at least hundreds of people who are stronger than your father, not to mention the entire origin continent. You are too young, and your current knowledge is indeed short-sighted, but that doesn't matter. After broadening your horizons, stabilize your true intentions, and you will definitely have a bright future. Hope. Hundreds and more. Unexpectedly, there are so many people who are more powerful than the number one person in the world in my mind. Zhang Ziyize has learned a lot. The origin continent is so big. The Tianlong Holy Dynasty was so terrifying. The Yanlong Holy Clan is actually just a branch of the Holy Dragon Clan. In the Tianlong Holy Dynasty, those who can hold the titles of Holy Son and Holy Daughter are the most talented. If you work harder, you may not be able to catch up with them. Xinyao God's attendant was afraid that he was too frustrated. Unexpectedly, Zhang Zizai's eyes sparkled and he said, "Is this a little brat today? He has been practicing for several years. With this level of strength, it is not difficult for me to surpass him by 10 points. He is not the kind of person who will be defeated, but will become more courageous as he fights." He really didn't take that saint son seriously. "Don't be overconfident," Xinjiao divine servant said. He Zhang Zizai just encouraged himself. He knew that it was really difficult to compete with the people of Tianlong Holy Dynasty. It seemed that they were not in the same league. In the future, work hard. In fact, you should guess that Yanlong is actually a vassal state of Tianlong Holy Dynasty. Yanlong's ancestors were several people from the Yanlong Holy Clan in Tianlong Holy Dynasty. They came here from afar to establish the dynasty and passed down the foundation here. The Yanlong royal clan is also a small branch of the Yanlong Holy Clan. Therefore, Yanlong Emperor respects the Dragon Guardian and the Holy Sun so much. Dragon Guardian should be a position, and the Ancient Venerable is probably the Dragon Guardian. Awesome, awesome. There must be a lot of dragon totems in Tianlong Holy Dynasty. Of course, it is a huge holy dynasty with the Holy Dragon as the totem, the birthplace of the Dragon Totem, and the place known as the world's first totem. I wonder how Shen Xiao and Ling Xian will perform when they go there? With their talents, they are not too bad, and they should have no problem getting by. Zhang Zizai yearns for that place, but he can't go to the Tianlong Holy Dynasty. First, there is no one to lead him, and second, he is helpless. If he goes, he will die, and he is also involved with the God Box. Moreover, there is a Holy Son who knows about the God Box. At this time, the Holy Son God servant said, "Although the Tianlong Holy Dynasty is strong, the strongest force in this origin continent is still our origin divine sect." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 229. He vaguely recalled something that Yuan Divine Attendant had said. He guessed, the Origin Shen sect is the headquarters of the sacrificial temples. The Shen sect has built 272 sacrificial temples throughout the Origin continent. They are probably similar to our sacrificial temples. He thought that there was only one temple for worshipping gods, so he established many branches for worshipping gods in various places to lead the people to worship the ancient gods. Unexpectedly, the number of sacrifices in the temple alone was over 200. The Holy Son Divine Attendant nodded and said, "Generally, at the dynasty level, there are sacrificial temples established. Even in remote places like the Yanlong dynasty, there are sacrificial temples. It is only because some countries are too small that they do not have sacrificial temples, but there are also branches there. Of course, there is no sacrificial temple in the Tianlong Holy Kingdom. This is why the temple of worship is terrible. The Origin Shen sect controls the divine power. Although they cannot control the Tianlong Holy Dynasty, they should basically control half of the Origin continent. However, they have a good reputation in every place. They cultivate geniuses, worship ancient gods, and do things with immeasurable merit. In the Yanlong dynasty, if the imperial power was not too suppressive, they would just develop silently and save lives and heal the wounded. They never proclaimed themselves emperors. Even the sacrificial temple here has 3 such top experts, and there are so many Yuanqing and priests. I wonder how powerful the headquarters of the Origin Shen sect is. The 272 sacrificial temples add up to a terrifying force that spreads throughout the origin continent. He has a certain yearning for the origin of the divine sect. The Holy Sun God server said, the origin Shen sect is located on the Sky Island. Sky Island is an island suspended above the common people. It moves within the entire origin continent. Its territory is about as big as Daejeon County. In the origin Shen sect, it brings together the geniuses cultivated by the major sacrificial temples, as well as the top experts of the Shen zone. The overall strength is much stronger than that of the Tianlong Holy Dynasty. Among them, there are geniuses from all over the world, as well as those cultivated and inherited by the Shen zone itself, which is no better than the Tianlong Holy Dynasty. Bad. Recently, Sky Island has moved to the Tianduan Mountains, which is relatively close to here, so I have gone back several times. Why can an island fly in the sky? Zhang Zizai found it incredible. The Holy Sun Divine Attendant smiled and said, that is the power of the ancient gods. Only gods can create such miracles. The totems brought by the ancient gods to all living beings, our Shen sect, are just for the common people to remember and be grateful to the ancient gods. Don't be arrogant. Damn, if there were no totems in this world, all mortals would be wiped out and it would become a desolate world where source beasts are raging. Zhang Zizai understood. Awesome, awesome. Today, he began to greatly broaden his worldview. The movement of Sky Island is automatic. In about 5 years, it will travel to every dynasty of the Tianlong Holy Dynasty. At the end of next month, it will appear in the sky above the Yanlong Dynasty, and then it will cast a shadow. However, ordinary people don't you will know that it originated from the Shen sect, the Holy Sun God's attendant said with a smile. Amazing, Zhang Zi sighed inwardly. However, the world is so big, so he should just stay here and cultivate. Unexpectedly, at this time, the divine attendant of the Holy Sun suddenly looked at him steadily and said solemnly, when the time comes, you will follow me to the origin section there, you will start a new journey of cultivation. What? Zhang Zizai was stunned for a moment. He asked so many questions, but he never thought that he would be allowed to go to the origin Shen sect. Yanlong has no geniuses who can compete with you. You need to go to a new place to see how powerful your peers are. In fact, the top geniuses in the temples in various places are likely to be sent to the Shen section. Yes, your father and your brother were able to go, but they refused. Your father wanted to stay here to serve the Yanlong Emperor, and if your brother went to Shen zone to follow his father, his current achievements would definitely be more than this. You must not waste your talents, you must hone yourself in the most competitive place, the Holy Sun God's attendant said very seriously. Zhang Zizai was just a little unprepared. It's a bit confusing. I'll think about it for a moment. He looked at his mother and brother. He knew that if he went this time, he would probably have to say goodbye to them in a short time. He didn't know when he would be able to see them again. Zi, go ahead. I can take care of my parents. I didn't go at first, but I regret it now, Zhang Junjian said. Don't think too much. Practice for a year or two. If you miss your mother, you can come back anytime. You and I are in Daejeon King City, and you are in Yanlong Ruins. Besides, you little naughty boy has never missed your mother a few times. Ruohua said with a smile. I don't care about you, Zhang Zizai said aggrievedly. He looked at the 9 immortals reluctantly and said, I just can't let go of my priest. Now that I'm gone, no one will respect her or love her anymore. The Holy Sun God attendant smiled. Who doesn't know that this guy just doesn't want to be beautiful? The Holy Sun Divine Attendant shook his head helplessly and said, that's no problem. The 9 immortals and their siblings made some mistakes a few years ago and were exiled here. I have received instructions when they come back this time. They can return to Shen zone. Sure enough, these 9 immortals and 9 gods are all from the origin Shen section. No wonder she is mysterious and mysterious every day, saying that she has secrets, destiny, and so on. Really? Don't fool me, or I'll shave your beard. Juxian seemed a little excited. She originally wanted to go back to that place. She said before that the place she could never go back to was the Origin Shen sect. Moreover, Zhang Zizai was also accompanying her. How can I be joking when I speak, said the Holy Sun God. Great, haha, Juxian happily hugged Zhang Zizai in front of the elders. The two of them ignored the strange looks of the elders and hugged passionately. If there was no one, they would probably roll to the ground. Ahem, pay attention to the impact. Xinjiao God servant frowned. Brother, you can go back. Juxian hugged Zhang Zizai and hurried to hug Shen Yuanqing, but Shen Yuanqing frowned slightly. He asked Chengri God servant, are you sure? That's not a small matter. Can we go back? Chengri God servant nodded and said, it has been confirmed, and the problem should not be big. He seemed to be worried and not as happy as Juxian. Perhaps he knew that the things involved were not as optimistic as she imagined. Zhang Zizai was eager in his heart, but this meant that he might have to leave many people. He glanced at Lu Dingxing. After all, he was also a wild level totem, so he asked, God servant, can Lu Dingxing go? From Lu Yuan's face, he was also yearning. He definitely hoped that his son would have a good world. The Holy Sun Divine Servant nodded and said, you and Lu Dingxing are fine. Xiaoyu, Baishanjin, and Wanqian should need certain assessments before they can stay in the Divine section. The practitioners of the Divine sect must have at least a heaven-level totem. Can they all try? Zhang Ziyi was relieved. Although he didn't know what he would have to face in the future, he was not afraid. When you go to the Divine sect, the most important thing is not to tell anyone about the Divine box, understand, the Holy Sun Divine Servant warned. Zhang Ziyi understood. This is the deepest place in the Origin continent, and it must be complicated inside. The water there must be very deep. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 230. It is already certain that Zhang Zizai and Lu Dingxing will start training at the Origin Shen sect when Sky Island arrives over the Yanlong dynasty a month later. The 9 gods and 9 immortals will also go together. Baishanjin, Wanqian, and Ruo Xiaoyu should need to take a test and assessment. If they pass, they can stay in the Origin Shen section, otherwise, you have to return to Yanlong. For the Origin Shen sect, if you fail once, you will basically have no chance in the future. With 1 month left, Zhang Zizai naturally chose to return to Dajiangqing City. Yanlong ruins was now smoky, and it was useless to stay here. After returning, Princess Ruohua had to prepare for 2 things. The first was the marriage between Zhang Junjian and Dong Yangjing. The second thing is Zhang Junjian's king-making ceremony. She plans to finish it within a month. The divine attendant Yu Yin stayed in Yanlong ruins to take charge of the overall situation, while the divine attendant Holy Sun and the divine attendant Xin Yao followed them back to Dajiangqing City. Zhang Junjian has announced that as long as Emperor Yanlong does not abdicate, Dajiang County will not be under the jurisdiction of the imperial dynasty. Such a major event, including the matter of kingship, requires 2 divine attendants to personally take charge. Just in time, the Holy Sun Divine Attendant took everyone directly to the Origin Divine Sect. Zhang Zizai rode his ghostly fire shadow and returned to King Zhang City with everyone. Along the road, you can see that the entire dynasty is in turmoil, and the voices of attacking the Yanlong Emperor can be heard everywhere. Among them, Dajiang County is the most serious, because among the 100,000 people in Dajiang County, many relatives still survive. The Kailan army stationed at Huangtian Pass was originally disheartened by King Zilan, but now they were wronged. When they knew that Zhang Junjian had said that Dajiang County would temporarily separate from the dynasty, they had publicly announced their decision to follow Zhang Junjian. General Zhongli Lu Yuan went directly to Huangtian Pass, and from now on he would lead the Kailan army. he will lead an army back to King Zhang City to help Zhang Zhenjian become king smoothly. Originally, the title of king had to be the emperor's will, but now that Dajiang County has announced its separation from the dynasty, there is no need for Emperor Yanlong to say anything. Working hard, we return to Dajiang King City in a few days. After returning to a familiar place, breathing the familiar air, and seeing the sweetness and happiness of his brother and Dongyang Jing, Zhang Zizai felt completely relieved. So refreshing. The matter between his father and brother has been resolved. Now he has a feeling that the sky is high and birds can fly. It is time to pursue a more powerful martial arts and pursue the 9 immortals. Ruohua acted vigorously and resolutely, and when they came back, they were welcomed by the people of the entire royal city. The angry people of the royal city absolutely supported Zhang Zhenjian's decision. Only a few people had opinions, and they were frightened, but their opinions were ignored. The old man Zhang Shangwen ran out and cried, "Princess, Crown Prince! No, we, the Kailan royal family, have been serving the imperial family for generations, how can you treason? If there is a war in the future, our Dajiang County will definitely be destroyed by the royal family." Pul'an Ruohua didn't bother to answer him and said directly, "Everyone, this is the divine attendant of the Holy Sun, and this is the divine attendant of Xinjiao." After returning to Dajiang King City, Ruohua quickly led the people to meet the 2 divine attendants. The divine attendant has actually come to our Dajian King City, and he is also the most mysterious divine attendant of the Holy Sun. For a time, people were extremely respectful and knelt down to worship him devoutly. Everyone is exempt from the ceremony. The Holy Sun divine attendant's body was shining with the brilliance of the sun. He was like a god, and he was even more respected, loved, and deified by ordinary people. We came to Dajiang King City this time to support Zhang Zhenjian, the crown prince of Nanwang. As we all know, Emperor Yanlong made a heinous mistake, but still occupied the throne and refused to abdicate. Dajiang County has reason not to accept this. The commander of the Demon King, Zilan King Zhang Yunting, has something important to do. He asked me to help Zhang Zhenjian become the new king and take charge of Dajiang County in the future. I can vouch for Zhang Zhenjian's temperament and ability. The largest sacrificial temple will be built in Dajiang County. Separate halls to invite people to worship the ancient gods. Hearing this news, the people were only happy. For a time, Zhang Zhenjian, who had received the help of the Holy Sun God, gained the support of the people. Of course, there are also benefits to worshipping the temple. It will be easier for them to travel in Dajiang County in the future. However, it was the divine attendant of the Holy Sun who was more helpful to their family. Judging from the cheering scene, Zhang Zhenjian has no problem becoming the new king. Ruohua can also take some time off, play with her flowers and plants, and urge Zhang Zhenjian to have a grandson. On September 29, Jun Jianhui will marry Dong Yangjing of the Qingluan clan, and will be officially crowned king at that time, Ruohua announced. Congratulations to the princess, congratulations to the prince. Dajiang King City was freed from the rule of the Demon King, and for a while, everyone cheered. They are full of hope for their future life. After all, this was supported by the Holy Sun divine attendant himself. This may be the will of the gods. After returning, everything will be according to Ruohua's instructions. Ruohua was very good at taking care of Dong Yangjing. The day after his return, he took Zhang Zhenjian and Dong Yangjing to the Qingluan clan in person, presented a heavy gift, and proposed marriage to the newly returned King Qingluan. Her etiquette was already very solemn. However, King Qingluan, a coward, refused to accept their gifts. However, Dong Yangjing's grandmother is still alive. She is very relieved to see her granddaughter happy. She is already over 60 years old, and she has to go to Dajiang King City in person to host her granddaughter. This makes Dong Yangjing burst into tears. This is actually a good thing for her. It is very important for her that when she gets married, at least her maternal family will be present. Mother, they are traitors, don't be confused, King Qingluan said anxiously. My Qingluan clan has been loyal and brave for generations, how come you have become a coward who carries favor with the powerful? The old lady glared at him and decided to go to Daejiang King City with Dong Yangjing that day. The turmoil in the dynasty ended in the following time. It is said that the Flame Dragon Emperor stayed in the imperial city and never saw anyone. The turmoil outside was appeased by the sacrifice temple. At this time, the authority of the sacrifice temple in the entire dynasty was unparalleled. People lost the Flame Dragon Emperor and had a spiritual pillar like the sacrifice temple. It was very noisy outside, but Zhang Zizai stayed in Daejiang King City to practice quietly. During this time, he was trying to sprint to the 9th level of the mysterious veins realm and continued to learn a talisman. Star Talisman, Immortality, Glowing Talisman. The soul calming talisman is from the Wuxian series, which is extremely powerful. Zhang Zizai chose an Immortal series talisman this time. According to the description, this glowing talisman can heal physical injuries. Some minor injuries, such as sword marks on the body, can be quickly restored and reborn with the glowing talisman. The glowing talisman has a huge effect, so it is also very difficult. Zhang Zizai estimated that he is unlikely to succeed before arriving at Sky Island. Bai Shenjian, Wanqian, and Ruo Xiaoyu were in seclusion at the end. The Holy Sun God servant personally guided them. Whether they could stay in the Origin Divine sect depended on their own luck.